All right, looks like we have Jeff Hager with us now. So let's go to Jeff. Jeff, what can you tell us out there?
Absolutely an active scene out here as far as people moving around and lots of emergency apparatus and police. Joining me now, Communications Director for the Harford County Sheriff's Office, Christy Hopkins. And Christy, I know the sheriff was somewhat brief in what he could give us early on. What's the latest that we're getting right now on just the scenario here?
This is still such a very fluid and ongoing investigation, and we want to be sure that we are giving people factual information that is vetted and confirmed before we share it. And so as soon as we have new information, we will share it. But right now what we're letting people know is that at 9:06 this morning, we were called to the Rite Aid Distribution Center for a report of shots fired. Upon arrival, we found multiple victims, and we are able to confirm right now that there are injured and there are some fatalities. Those numbers, we still want to be sure that we're able to speak to family members and let them know what's happening before we release it in full. We just thank everybody for their patience. The sheriff and the county executive have offered their thoughts and prayers to the victims of today's tragedy. Again, here we are, Harford County, and tragedy is at our doorstep.
A suspect in custody, the lone suspect, we're told. What do we know about the nature of their injuries, male or female, anything that you can give us right now?
That is all information that we are still gathering. The suspect in this case is in custody and in critical condition, and as more information becomes available, we will certainly let you know.
There has been talk that law enforcement never fired a single shot, which seems to allude to the fact that perhaps, the lone gunman tried to take their own life. I don't know.
And certainly that is one theory that we're looking at. We're going to get information from people that were on scene, multiple witnesses, and talk to everybody that was on scene today to find out exactly what unfolded inside the distribution center.
We saw 2 school buses that presumably were brought in to try to take out some of the employees and witnesses. What's up with that?
Certainly, we're going to need to speak to everybody that was on scene today, and we want to be able to move those folks out of the crime scene at the Family Reunification Center. We want to be able to debrief with them, again, see if there's any information that they have that could help us in this investigation, and then reunify them with family.
Anything that you learned from the Edgewood mass shooting, which is helping now? So many people, so many families out there probably, holding on to hope that theirs isn't one of those casualties.
Wait for the process to complete. And I know that it is so difficult if you are waiting to find out what happened to your loved one. Head to the Family Reunification Center that's at Level Volunteer Fire Hall. Speak to the people there, and we will get you information as soon as possible. We know that must be an absolutely horrific feeling while you're waiting for information for your loved one. And we are moving as quickly as we can. We do need to be very methodical. We do need to make sure that we have gathered all the information that we need to continue our investigation.
Anecdotally, I know that there have been a lot of businesses since Granite Solutions which have brought in active shooter training.
Yes.
And the sheriff's office is very
active in that. Yes.
Do we know if this complex would have had that?
I don't know if they specifically have done that. I know that we have been training. It is a year-round training process. We have deputies that's what their main function is, to go out to businesses, to speak to them about active shooter, to train people exactly what to do if this tragedy comes to you. It's not just about preventing the shootings from occurring anymore. We must make sure that people are trained on exactly how to react, because that is what is going to save lives.
Very good. Anything you wanted to add? Anything at all?
No, again, our thoughts and prayers are just with the victims today, whether they sustained an injury or witnessed something horrific. We're certainly keeping all of them in our thoughts, and we ask people for their patience as we continue to move through this tragedy and get information out.
Thank you very much. Christy Hopkins with the Harford County Sheriff's Office. We will continue to stay in the position we're at here at Susputia and Perryman Roads, just outside of the Enterprise Industrial Complex where this happened at the Rite Aid Center that everyone's now converged upon. A lot of vehicles, a lot of activities still here, but as far as the threat in the area, there is not one. A lone shooter, they won't tell us male or female, and as you heard Christy allude to, a lot of that information is going to come out and be processed as families are made aware of their loved ones' conditions and the situation as it's sort of unfolding here in the aftermath of the mass shooting. Reporting live, Jeff Hager. Now back to you.
Okay, Jeff, thanks very much for that. Can you just give me a rundown? You mentioned exactly where you are, but I'm just not exactly sure where you are in relation to the actual facility itself, and also that the news conference out on Short Lane. You're at a different spot, correct?
Yes, actually when this first happened this morning, there was a large perimeter that they were trying to push people back to keep everyone safe before they knew if it was a lone shooter or if there might be others that were still out here with a big risk. And so police pushed all of the media staging area over to Old Philadelphia Road, probably a good half to 3/4 of a mile from here. We initially came as far up as we could come. We're across from the industrial center. Now this is off Route 40, probably about a half mile back on Sespucia Road where it hits Perryman. And that's where the Enterprise Center is. So kind of a remote area. We're told there are so many workers here that they bring bus loads in every morning and every evening when the work shifts are letting out, those same buses are coming out of here. So certainly a huge complex with lots of workers. This apparently an outbuilding for Rite Aid, a smaller support center, not in their biggest facility, but we're right here at the funnel basically that goes into the center where the shooting occurred.
Okay, Jeff Hager live there in Harford County. Thanks so much for that live report. A lot of good information there as we hear from the Harford County Sheriff's Office that they do plan to release more information as they get it. But again, earlier, the Associated Press had been reporting that 3 people were killed in this. At the official news conference, which happened about a half hour ago now, the sheriff of Harford County, Jeff Gaylor, said only that multiple people were killed in the shooting and multiple people were wounded this morning in the shooting at the Rite Aid distribution facility there in the Perryman area of Harford County.